You see, if we love God, we would obey Him. When I was in high school as a sophomore, I played baseball, and I wasn't too good my sophomore year, but we needed players, and so I would be up to bat, and I remember the coach in critical positions, he'd call timeout, he'd pull me to the side, and he said, now listen, Drew, if that pitch comes in a little bit inside, just lean into it. I'd say, excuse me, coach? Okay, we need you on base. We can't be getting out here. First pitch would come, strike one. Don't pull your head, keep your head down. Second pitch would come, I'd swing at everything. Third pitch would come, it was a little inside. I'd lean into it and whack right on the shoulder. And then I'd hear the coach be praising me. Great job, Drew, great job. Take one for the team. Don't wipe it off. Get drunk at first base. Good job. He did good. Think of all those halfbacks. They fake the handoff to them in football, and they act like they have it, but they don't have it. And then they start running, and the sneaky quarterback goes the other way with the ball, and the linebackers and the defensive ends, they rush after that halfback, and they lift him up, and they spear him and tackle him, and there he is on the ground. And meanwhile, that sneaky quarterback throws the football to the receiver. Touchdown! Everybody's cheering, except for that halfback. Why? Because he was the sacrifice. He obeyed the coach, even when it hurt. And this is the call that we all have to come to. By one man we've all become sinners, but by one man, Christ, we can now be right with God. Look at the Bible makes it very clear that Jesus, in Hebrews chapter 5, verse 8, it says, and he learned obedience by suffering, by going through hardship. And maybe we don't get this because John chapter 5, verse 44 says, you don't receive the honor from God because you're too busy trying to please other people. If you're a people pleaser, you're probably not a God pleaser. If you're always concerned about what everybody thinks about you, about what they're saying about you, we ought to be concerned about what God thinks about us, about what God is saying about us. In John chapter 8, Jesus has this setness. In the garden, Matthew chapter 26, Jesus is wrestling. He's agonizing. Drops of blood are coming down his forehead as he knows the cross is looming. And he says, God, take this cup from me. Take this cup. Take this cup. God, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. And the Father says, no, you have to suffer. You have to lose your life so all these people can be saved. You have to lose your life to fulfill all the prophecies so you can walk in obedience to me, so you can walk in obedience with me. In Leviticus, it talks about when there's an offering, it's always a sweet-smelling aroma. And so it is to God today that when we sacrifice, it's that aroma that He can receive. How do you learn obedience? It's through suffering. It's that little dog leash. It's through that uncomfortableness. It's through the conviction of the Holy Spirit. It's through a discipline. It's through some punishments. It's through the hardships of life that we feel like we're losing. But we're really learning how to obey. In Philippians chapter 2, verse 8, it says, Jesus, who was God of God, humbled himself to death, even death on a cross. You see, after a while, it doesn't become such a burden. Let me ask you a question. Is it a burden for you to obey God? Look what it says in 1 John chapter 5, verse 3. It says, if we love God, it wouldn't be such a burden to obey God.